6:46 p.m. We have no guests. Previous minutes, did everybody have a chance to look
Anybody need
at
them?
those? I was not here. I'm happy to update them as if you have updates, but I obviously can't comment on them.
One thing that I would say is under review budget report, there's two items that, they need to be bulleted and indented, because it looks like Maggie and Mike approved opening Tuesday morning. That's like the item directly above it,
I saw that, okay.
only it's actually part of,
All right, so I'll format them as,
yeah. And I think, director's report, same thing.
Yeah,
There's
just do that,
those
yeah.
bullets need to be, it needs to be clear that those items are part of the other item.
And then at April 26th, just so it makes a little more sense, April 26th is another drop-off day. You book that somewhere.
oh, up there.
Drop-off.
Jody's just got the word dump, yeah.
I mean, we all understand,
Yeah,
but if someone else were to look at the next
50 years from now, they'll be like, drop-off day.
what's that?
Do you want to add Janet working on mailing list under strategic plan, rather than just Janet working?
I have most of it. I need the kit that is the volunteer, the young gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I was forgetting his name, sorry. I need him too. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty close. Correct the spelling on brochure as well. You know what? I've never done this, but when I'm updating these, am I supposed to leave the edits in?
I don't think so.
Anything else anybody sees?
Also under director's report, again, with the item, with the thing, it looks like it appeared, you know what I mean? Can those things go in order under review director's report? Like the grounds cleanup is the 19th, that should be first. And then April 26th is the drop down day, that's second. And then,
Wait a minute, because that's supposed to be actually April 19th, right?
yes.
There's no month, okay.
So again, it looks like people are needed on Friday on April 26th, when in fact they're needed on May 2nd. Does that make sense?
Right.
Those two things. Yeah.
Friday is May 1st. Oh, no, May 2nd?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And for those of you who are here, I'm assuming I've got motions to accept in seconds, assuming they were passed and not unanimously or in some way.
Yeah.
I just put passed, because we don't know.
No, everything was unanimous.
Everything is unanimous. All right, so I guess what unanimous. Anything else?
The only other thing I might add is follow up on long overdue materials rather than just overdue materials.
I think we've just been saying what we did, it's much cooler.
I'm not sure how long overdue they are. There are 2013 items in here.
It's still long overdue, we're halfway through 2014. I think if they're 6 months overdue, they're considered long overdue.
Yeah, longer than the 91 days, which is when the last notice goes out.
I'm also going to just put on here regular meeting of the trustees, which it doesn't say.
Oh, and the date also.
Oh, the date's wrong. He used old notes. What was it, 4/15?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I have for, so I'm guessing.
Oh, the file was named correctly, just not the.
Alrighty. You good on those? Is there any follow-up from those that we should be talking about, or?
There were action items, but I don't remember any of those specifically. I may have written down somewhere.
Hold on. So, John Manning was a guest, not an attendee, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Catch.
Alright, so absent was me. You were absent?
Jake, Aaron?
Okay, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll move to accept.
You have a second?
One second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to send those to you.
Thank you.
All right. Did everybody have a chance to look at the director's report?
I looked at it, but could I copy it, please?
Of course. I just know it's going to go
Never gone.
flying.
It's somewhere in my email. I need to,
I was hoping you did here early.
pull it out.
Yeah, thanks guys for doing the tables right. I didn't think to
I opened everything.
leave a
at
note
once.
for Richard. So as has been kind of consistently, circulation is up and patron visits are leveling off. I have not had a chance to look into perhaps more accurate patron counters. Another thing on the statistics, I think last year when we decided we were going to join Freegal, the music downloading service, my goal at the time, we paid $1,800 for that service for 1 year. And I thought, if we get enough volume that it works out to be $1 a song, I will be really pleased. And we're at $1,200 now with 2 months to go. So I feel pretty good about that. I feel like, all right, maybe it was $1.20 a song or $1.10 a song, but still a good value for our patrons. And I'm really pleased that
And I still haven't even figured out how to use it.
I couldn't get my computer to accept it, so I need your help on that.
Okay, yeah, definitely let me know on that. There was some talk, I went to the annual meeting at the Merrimack Valley Library Consortium today, and there was a little discussion about the renewal of it. I think maybe 2 libraries are dropping out because they didn't get the usage that they wanted, but the rest of us have already renewed for fiscal 15. And I think I mentioned in my last report that with our renewal, the deal we got was now people get 5 songs per week instead of 3 songs, and people are using them. Another thing that we've had an offer, and I haven't seen, I think it would be about $500 or $600, but I haven't seen specifically, is Freegal also offers a streaming service, like a Spotify kind of thing, where people could stream. Each individual patron can stream for 3 hours per day. And I don't know how much people would do that, if it's worth considering or not.
It's an additional cost, not.
Yes.
I don't know, because there's all kinds of free streaming out there. So, and I'm not sure how many people do, as opposed to just listening to music they've saved themselves.
That's what, I mean, that's
There's
my
YouTube,
tendency.
There's Spotify.
Yeah.
Pandora.
Pandora.
And there's all, like,
iTunes, you can
Yeah.
sacrifice to.
yeah, so I tend to think that that's not really what our patrons are looking for with that. And again, I'll just point out that the electronic circulation is way, way up. We've already surpassed our last year's totals, and we still have 2 months in the year to go. So that's just becoming more and more. In fact, as of the running of this report, which was at the beginning of May, if you count each Friegel song as one circulation, which it's not, that would be 2.9% of the total. And then Overdrive, which is the download of audiobooks and ebooks, is also a little more than 3%. So 6% of our total circ is some kind of download, virtual items.
3%?
About 3% each, Friegel and Overdrive.
Each.
Yep. And also, I'll mention the programs. Big Ryan's Tall Tales, always a huge hit. That was during school vacation week. The annual book and bake sale, which was the weekend of May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, raised over $4,600 for the Friends.
Yay.
Our student chair is here tonight. Good job, Michelle. And Michelle has also let us know that it will be her last year running the book sale, so she definitely went out with a win.
That's definitely a record, yes?
Oh,
yeah.
It's a record,
It
yeah.
shattered, previous May was like 41.75 or something.
Excellent.
And it's funny, I didn't talk to people, we didn't notice it happening. It wasn't like, wow, look how busy we are.
Yeah.
Just at the end of the weekend, it was like, wow, look at all.
Coming up, Holly Robinson and Carla Pansiera, local authors, are doing a talk on the writing process. And I don't know if you know Holly Robinson's newest book just came out, Beach Plum Island. Carla contributed a poem that's the, what's it called, Janet, like frontispiece or something? And
Yeah.
it's something,
Yeah.
yeah, it's included in Holly's book. And then the Mass Walking Tour, which is funded by the Raleigh Cultural Council, will be performing a folk concert here on Wednesday, June 18th at 6 p.m. If you don't know the Mass Walking Tour, they walk the Mass Bay Circuit Trail, so they're starting up in Newbury and they're going down to Kingston over a few weeks over the summer.
My husband and I went and we looked at the website because it's hard to tell from the poster exactly
What
what
is it?
What
Yeah.
it is. But the band was great.
Yeah.
It was like a traditional folk roots, definitely something that we would be interested in.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a little more. I think they sent me a press release that again is more about the whole project and not so much about our concert, but where Rally Reads only ended Sunday, I haven't really done any press so yeah, I thought the same thing about the poster. It's not really clear that it's a folk concert.
No, it isn't, but it's, we went to the website, we saw them, we read more about what they're doing. They're literally walking all over the state.
And in fact, we had to cancel a yoga class. Normally I'd open programs on Wednesdays because we have this long running yoga class, but they're walking. They can't
Yoga
change that.
classes?
Oh, no,
Right,
it's like, that's when they're going to be in Raleigh, so.
That should be good. I think they're also going to Newbury too.
I think they start there
Oh,
and then
and
they're here
then
the
they
next
come
day. Yep. So that's it for programs. The book club takes the summer off. They take a hiatus. Yoga, Morag usually takes the summer off, our adult yoga teacher, but we've occasionally gotten a sub. I'm not sure yet if we're going to do that this year or not. And summer reading, of course, is, again, Raleigh Reads, like now the next thing. So
And read some more.
So we'll start focusing on the summer reading program. The kickoff event for the children's program was actually just posted. The poster just went up today, and I didn't even look at it. But they have a date and a plan for their kickoff event.
I'm just looking at the agenda. Do you have any feedback from the Rally Read so far, or is that coming out?
That's coming up in the
Okay.
75th, so.
Yeah, let's talk about Rally Reads more after that. And we got our second state aid payment. So that brings the total for fiscal 14 for $5,309.41. Another thing I learned today at the membership meeting is in the budget that the Senate is considering right now is the first increase in state aid that there's been in like 10 years. And the other thing that's kind of urgent in the budget is there's a line item for the Center for the Book of Massachusetts. The Library of Congress has a Center for the Book. I think they had the first one, but then every state also has their own Center for the Book, and it's been out of UMass since it was founded. And I think it's been privately funded this whole time, so they're trying to make it an official state agency, and that line item is very questionable right now. So if anyone's motivated to call their senators and support, I have the number. I have the number of the amendment. I can email it.
And what was the total state aid?
$5,309.41.
And the other thing, sort of related to the legislative agenda, is that MLA, just to finish their annual conference a couple weeks ago, and one of the things they decided was to offer institutional memberships, which they've never done before. They've only done individual memberships. So with an institutional membership, depending on what level, it includes conference attendance for certain members of your staff at the membership price, not includes it totally, but just at the membership price. So that might be something that we want to look at.
Questions? Any questions on the director's report?
No.
John, good?
I move to accept the director's report.
Take a second.
I can second.
All those in favor?
Okay.
I have a new budget because I paid a bunch of bills today.
I'm still going to send the other days now.
This one is more current. And as we get to this point in the fiscal year, things start to get kind of hairy. So one big thing today was that I paid an electric bill, which means there's only one more light bill left to go in this fiscal year, and that, of course, is our biggest expense after our staff is the electricity. So we know where we stand on that line. You can see we've gone over in a few things, library supplies, postage, and the furnishing/equipment, which is a zero line, was book carts. We had a serious crunch of needing more book carts, so we got 3 of them. And also the gas bill, we're basically done with the heating season, so that's going to end up in a surplus. It looks like I've spent all the book money, but in fact, we have easily met our materials requirement because there are other sources that we spend on materials. For example, the Friends buy the museum passes, that counts towards it. The $2,500 we spent from Rally Reads federal grant counts toward it. So we're very comfortable over our 16% there. And I have put the word out that there's a little extra money in the wage line. Typically when there is a little extra, we invite people to come in and work on special projects. It's particularly nice to get the whole collection shelf ready before the busy summer season, and that's typically the goal, that if we can afford to in June, we invite people to come in and spend extra time doing that.
Are there any questions on the budget?
The overage in postage is due to the mailings associated
No,
with
I just
Rally Reads?
figured that I would stock up.
Okay.
Just, just get a little bit ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And we have all those overages to deal with, so.
Yeah. I have a lot of thank yous to write for rally meetings as well. It's a pretty long list.
Yes, on the budget, are you cut up, Michelle?
Okay.
Okay, I'll let you know. We have a motion to accept the budget. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Did you send the parade alternative to everybody, or just to me and Michelle? Or just to me?
Just so you two.
Okay. Anyway, just thought that was very fun. The book cart drill team,
I haven't watched that yet.
it's really quite amusing.
It's really pretty funny. That particular
I've seen
one is a
that.
good example.
I've seen that, that is fun.
Yeah. So another, I totally stole the idea from, where is Kip? I think he's Littleton. Somewhere, I think Littleton is having their like 350th parade on the same weekend as our 375th parade.
They're really causing Sue Hazen some problems.
Really?
Because they're like a step ahead of her in bands and vendors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone she's calling.
So the impetus for my suggesting that instead of a float was from their director, because he sent out on the email wondering if he could borrow book carts to put together a drill team.
Just in case you didn't mind your book cart being wobbled.
By strange people in another
At
town.
25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last month when we talked about the parade or not, but I think it would be really appropriate, but I don't know how we would pull it together.
The drill cart, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we do have some fancy new ones.
Do we have people to push them and perform with them was more my concern.
Or is there some kids that try who already have the band experience, but they would be in the parade anyway, wouldn't
The
they?
band will be in the
Yeah.
parade, yeah.
Well, typically, it's choreographed, people practice,
Yeah.
I mean, the competition at ALA is like a big deal.
Oh, I know, right, we're not competing, obviously,
Yeah.
but, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, even if we just decorated them and walked with them, I think that would be kind of fun, even a little spin here and there.
I don't know if you have any other ideas for the parade.
From a labor perspective, it would be much easier than building a float.
Mm-hmm.
From a storage perspective, where are we going to put the float while we're building it?
Right.
It would be much easier to decorate.
Would doing it kind of destroy the carts?
I mean, it depends on how bumpy the road is.
The route is only from, what,
It's half mile?
Warehouse Lane to downtown or something?
I should know.
I think it's half a
Railroad.
mile.
They're staging at Railroad in Jellison and bringing it down to
The Common.
the Common.
That can't be very
I
far.
think, is it
I think Sue said a half a
I was
mile.
gonna say, I don't know, is it on the
The
website?
the wheels of the carts really are designed for roads.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
It will,
Yeah.
Don't we even, what's that? Oh, that's more like a bucket, that thing out in the storage that used to use at Weathersfield.
Oh, yeah, that was like a book drop, I think.
Yeah, that's like a,
It's like a
Sleigh
sleigh
almost,
It looks
yeah.
like a sleigh, yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't be pushing them at any great speed.
the one cast, which is something. Like a furniture dollies.
If we looked at them, it might be easy enough, like if we look at the wheels, if they're easily replaced, then maybe we take a chance.
You could mount them on dollies.
Or just, if
Or
you
even
say,
before
if
that,
the
you take a
wheels
chance, and if one gets damaged, then we just replace out that cart's wheels.
Well, I can tell you that they came with their casters separate and we popped them in. So, yeah, you can probably buy the wheels separately, I would think.
Okay, guess we don't have to parade on their website yet.
I brought a different bag, so I don't have my notes. I want to say it's at least one.
You think?
Well, Hammond Street is like a quarter mile from the library.
Like my house to the school is
So what's the address where it starts?
American
American
barbecue.
To call it Robert's Funeral Home.
Or town hall even, it's the tip of the common.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to go up, maybe,
Oh, park around the common.
yeah, I think they want to bring people by it.
The last one, they actually pulled up onto the common.
Well, eventually, they want it to be what they call a Pied Piper parade, so that when the parade goes
1.5
by,
miles.
everyone will follow in behind it and end up on the common where there'll be an event. So like the bands and everything, they're gonna have a stage just beyond the common. So, I mean, to complete the parade, we'd really have to go at least to Country Gardens and then bring it back.
Thank you, Joshua.
Hold on a second. Let me recalculate that. That is to the town common newspaper.
You could probably use Robert's Funeral Home or Rich Dale's.
Please search it.
I don't think the length of the comment's gonna make a difference, but I'll get there.
And it would be good too, because we could kind of, if we're decorating each book cart, we could do it with each with a different theme of something that we offer here. One could have a Riley Reads display, one could have a children's room display, one could have
The book's good.
technology,
Or Friends.
friends, we can do friends version one.
What did you come up with this time?
1.1 miles.
So,
Right.
0.4 less.
I mean, I think also, you know, even if we just walk with the contingent, like we can have T-shirts made, we can carry the big Rally Reads banner.
How tall is that?
It's a good
Very
point.
tall. Okay, it's 6 feet tall.
Long
We can
poles.
wear stilts and carry it.
Really long poles over our heads.
What if we just had a pickup truck, we could follow a pickup truck? And the pickup truck would have the Riley Reads hanging off the side of it, if someone in a van or a minivan even, because we only have one.
Maybe we could put it so that it's in, across the back window of the pickup truck, like on a frame,
Yeah.
so that it showed behind.
And then trustees and staff and friends could follow it.
Good carry.
Giving out bookmarks instead of candy.
Well, and I think another thing we want to talk about is having something commemorative made. I mean, we could certainly have commemorative bookmarks made. I know they are planning on having tables on parade day, so any organization that wants to sell something commemorative, they're welcome to do that. I think if there's some money involved, it has to be through the Friends, but it's something to think about and maybe plan for.
So for bookmarks, are you thinking about like to hand out along the way?
That's what I was saying, like they throw candy.
I love that.
You know,
Or, you know, we just spent a good long while, you know, researching little imprint to everything. We
it
could
doesn't have to
do
be a bookmark.
pens or flash drives or, you know.
Do we have bookmarks left over with the flower seeds on it?
I think so.
So we could throw them in there too.
Make a mix.
We could give out any leftover trinkets from summer reading.
Sure would be in the summer too. So also related to the 375th, I would love to hear what our evaluations have said, but I also would like to thank Pam because she has put in a boatload and a half of hours on that, as well as John and Michelle. So I just wanted to make note of that because I know you all have put in far too many hours on that.
And I'll include Amy in that as well.
And Amy, yep. So,
And Maggie, Joshua, and Janet as well contributed to the brunch.
That was great. The brunch was excellent.
The brunch was very, very nice. I love that.
The band was amazing.
And several people commented, I commented, but then I heard other people comment. They were excellent, but they also played quietly enough that you could talk. You know,
Yes,
so-
they knew that they were in background.
Right, they were,
music,
yeah, so that's
yeah.
perfect, because that's not hard, that's not easy to find.
Yeah, I got the word from Joan too, that all the feedback she's gotten, and she knows everyone, has all been good as well, so. So it was a really nice wrap up of a fun month.
Hectic. And I missed happening. Is there,
You made the wine tasting.
I'm
Priorities.
Is there other stuff on the Pacific today? Or
Well,
Raleigh Reads?
so Raleigh Reads is over, except for sending out the thank yous. We do have all of the paper evaluations that need to be input into the online survey, and then we'll analyze that.
Yeah, that was one of mine.
There is an online survey, but I haven't really
Pushed it.
pushed it. I will put the link in the next newsletter and also a link on the website and Facebook. But each of the surveys we handed out at each event was tailored to that specific event. So we really asked people what they thought of that event and Raleigh Reads in general. We also asked some outcome-based questions, like did you learn something new? Did you meet someone new? So we haven't started the analysis of that yet. We will have to do a final report for the Board of Library Commissioners. That's not due until September 15th, but we'll get started on it pretty quickly. I'm hoping one of our volunteers can do the input.
I can do something, just, we've done that with other surveys, we've
Yeah.
broken it up.
We have a couple volunteers here,
Okay.
but yeah, they do a couple hours a week. I don't know if you know Andrew Rollins. He's been working for us on Tuesday
Yes.
afternoons.
Okay.
Yep. I think that would be a good project for him.
Yep.
He's keeping him very busy with summer reading stuff though. What else? So
How's the budget look?
the budget for Raleigh Reads spent.
But it's all
Covered.
It's all spent, everything's perfect,
Exactly.
it works out great.
We went over by $45, which is in the other line here in our regular budget.
And that we need to also summarize for the report any in-kind donations, so like donations of items for the jazz brunch,
Yes.
travel, time, things like that.
Yes, anything that the library or the Friends contributed as like a match has to go in the report. So, figuring out how many copies we made, how many flyers we made, and in the interim report, we had to figure out the staff time spent cataloging all the books. So, and our consultant from the Board of Library Commissioners came to the orchard tour, so that was nice. We got to have a little face-to-face with her, and she hadn't been to our library before.
I know I saw a couple of people at various events that I don't think are regular library users, so I think we drew in some new people too.
Yeah, we definitely do.
So that was great.
Another thing to note is if you do have any comments, any conversations that you've had about town, make sure that you email them to probably Pam, will be the central person, because all that needs to also be put in the report.
Anecdotal information.
Right.
The wine tasting was a huge hit. I've
Yeah.
heard so much about that.
Positive, bunch of positive chatter. that
How
night.
much people enjoyed that, how much they want to do it again. So maybe somehow with the 375, be it us or be it some other town. It was really fun to hear people start telling their stories about
Yeah.
their experiences, and I really enjoyed that very much.
That might actually be, if we could somehow tie it in, because I know you and, is it Rick, has been working kind of on oral history, or you and Bob?
Well,
Somewhat.
Rick has been putting the old cassette tapes from 1989 on CD. I would really like to do, and I need to talk to Janet Morrissey, who I need to talk to,
Right.
because we would videotape anyone willing to talk about
Right.
their.
But I was wondering
memories.
if we had, maybe not at the No River, but if we had something similar to the brunch, but it was more of a storytelling,
That's what I was
sharing
exactly.
thing.
Encourage some of the people who've been working on their memoir
Mhm.
in the classes, maybe they want to share some of what they've written.
The memoir class was very successful as well. Only 7 people signed up. But they did really, really, really good.
Took it seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
yeah, they did their homework and they shared and everybody was, in fact, we want to, I put this out to the Library5 subcommittee. We want to have one more session of the memoirs and we would, oh, here's John.
Josh,
wants to
can you
let
let
him
John
in.
in, please?
No one came to the final book discussion, so we thought we'd still pay Holly for her time, but not as much as they planned on originally. So maybe that would be diverted to Isabel for one more memoir writing session, because people were really into it.
Nice, awesome, great, John.
Hi, sorry, I'm late.
Understandable. So,
I scribbled on my agenda.
we've gotten through the previous minutes, the director's report budget. If you have any questions, we'll take them. But we're talking now about rally reads and the rally for 75th.
Another thing I would say people are sort of buzzing about is the book. Like people really got into the book, which was the point.
I mean, maybe it wouldn't be on board to sometime in June, sometime this summer, do another, I know the last one there wasn't much attendees and maybe there wouldn't be in the summertime. You'd have to gauge interest, but there's probably a lot of people, myself included, who didn't get a chance to read the book again, in time for all the activities that were going on. But to do it somehow
Well,
before 375.
yeah. Yeah. So all in all, it was very successful. Again, if you have conversations and have feedback, please pass it on or fill out the survey when it's posted. And we should probably start meeting soon if we're going to do another one next spring. I'm sort of thinking maybe every other spring, but we can see.
Michelle, you and I were talking about doing a big one and a little one.
Yeah,
Every
I
other
think-
year, or a smaller scale one.
Yeah, because if we were gonna, it's funny, because Ipswich, when we met with them in Ipswich, they said, you're gonna be surprised how difficult it is to spend $7,500. And at the time I thought, you're crazy. It's difficult. I mean, we had to do 20 events in order to use that budget. But that's because, we have the grant to spend. But if we were to just decide to do one and select a book and not request grant funds, we could put whatever budget we wanted on it and scale that
It
back.
would be much
It
more
would be much-
simplified.
Yeah, even if it was pick a book and have an event a week for 6 weeks or something.
I know,
It would be
I
so
saw
much.
Groveland did
easier.
one this spring, and I think they had 4 events. I think they had 1 event a week for a month.
Yeah.
It could really be simplified, yeah.
And even we had huge advertising blitz on this one, and I think partially because of the monetary investment and the time investment in it. But if we were to do one every year, then people would just expect that would be what we did.
Mhm.
We can even try to choose the perfect time of year to do it. We did this one in spring to coordinate with the 375th, but that may not be the best time. It may be, but we can look at it.
There were some challenges, I would say, starting with, we didn't really start planning the down and dirty stuff until after the holidays, so now we're mid-January, we're trying to book stuff and have enough time to publicize. We kind of limited ourselves.
Budget falls smack in the middle of it, elections fall smack in the middle of it.
And
For personally, book
scheduling
sales
things,
in the
the
middle.
book sale, Mother's Day, Easter, Passover,
Right.
town meetings, spring concert, there were so many conflicts, it was hard to fit everything in.
Yeah, I don't know that there's ever a time of year where there's nothing going on, but, we can take time to look at that and maybe make it easier on ourselves.
Do we spend the whole budget?
You have to, with federal money.
We're $45 over.
Yeah.
And apples being in the fall.
Right.
Yeah, that-
Right.
Do some other things.
Speaking of Apple, if you're interested, I know that the chef demonstration, Apples in April with Carolyn Greco, that is on YouTube now. Raleigh Community Media taped it, so if you're interested in looking at that I'll also put in the newsletter, the link to it. And I know they taped Bob Mary's talk. I don't know if I haven't checked to see if it's been edited and posted yet, but
I know it has been because people keep saying, I saw you. Saw you on TV.
Did that be like for Raleigh Community Media or?
I usually go townofraleigh.net and then to Raleigh Community Media and then to schedule, yeah. I don't know, it's Tightrope or something.
Oh, no, you first, okay.
I don't remember what it is.
I think you should know that I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, History of Dutchess Centerville is on there.
What time?
Well, you can stream it anytime.
Oh, you stream it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
on demand.
Yeah, but it is on, what, is it 20, 25 and 6?
It's on channel
20,
10.
26 on Verizon, 9 on Comcast.
It's not
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
So Pam, when you say we need to start,
Is on here too, man.
when you say we need to start talking about doing it again, is that the Raleigh Reads Committee or just outreach on that or?
Well, one thing I would like to do is sort of debrief a little more of what we're doing now, like what was positive, what was negative, what could we do better, what did we not do well enough. I would like to sort of have a debriefing, and then, ideally I'd like to get some just citizens involved too. We had a couple who expressed interest in the beginning, but they never really showed up for anything.
But then we had some who showed up repeatedly,
Yeah.
so maybe they're,
And I did kind of mention in all of my little spiels, like, okay, if you want to help plan next year's, step on up. Yep.
Is it a grant we gotta get again, or is it,
No.
we have to apply for it?
We have to apply for it.
Well, we were just talking about having a scaled back one that we would pay for ourselves next year, and then consider a larger scale one with a grant after that again.
But it was perfect for the 375.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was considering it was the first one especially, and it was a winging it,
Yeah.
kind of thing, it came off amazingly.
But the LSTA money just brings with it a lot of extra work. You have to, keep very careful statistics, you have to measure your outcomes, you have to write your reports, there's just a lot of extra work involved, which is fine, that's all great, it's all good things you should be doing, but if we do it ourselves, all that becomes unnecessary. We could do as much or as little as we choose. Oh. Probably.
All right, so that's-
I don't think so, I think,
Under 375th, we've talked a bunch of times about doing some other event through the summer and the fall when the town is really celebrating,
Mhm.
actually September 6th anniversary?
Yes.
Is it 6th? And we probably need to have a meeting to really iron that out, see if we're going to do it. We've talked about different contests, a photo contest, maybe a writing contest. And now that we're on the
and
reading
definitely
summer,
an open house, like, at one point they were talking about, like, meet your town, where all the town departments would be open, and having a little open house thing. I don't know if that's gonna come together or not, but we should definitely do an open house.
That would be nice.
I know some of the First Families reunions are coming back, they might want tours.
For the Raleigh 375, are we doing something on that weekend, or is it just on that Saturday?
The whole weekend, there's a road race Thursday night. Friday might just be like church bells ringing and proclamations, I think, and then Saturday's the parade, food on the common, music, panoramic picture, and then Sundays is all the church services, and then they're also doing, it's called community picnic or something.
There's music again.
It's not like a potluck, but it's like a come tailgate on the common kind of thing.
Is that after, I think that's after.
That's Sunday. No, that's Sunday.
Oh, okay. And Fox News is doing their little zip trip. They're coming, I don't know
August
where, but I mean,
22nd.
somewhere in Raleigh. August 22nd.
Yeah, they've been to the diner before.
Yeah, I want to say that I've seen that they're going to be at the diner, but where would they set up? Across the street there where the sales sign goes?
I don't really know what a zip trip is, but.
They go into the communities and they go to like a local spot, like Crescent,
How about here?
Yeah.
They come
Yes,
here.
they should come to our left.
Well, I don't know why. It would make sense to me that they would do it on the common, but.
And I don't know if like 375th people coordinated that or if it just happened.
They said they didn't. But yeah, so they don't know how that gets worked, like who invites them or how they get permission.
I'm sorry, I'm working, actually, so apologize, I'm gonna have to.
So I will give you a more detailed report on Rally Reads as we sort of, attendance figures and all of that. But I was really pleased with, except for the last, another conflict was the Bruins playoffs. 3 of our events. And that may have contributed to the final book discussion. And it might also have been that anybody who wanted to come to the book discussion managed to make it to one of the first 2, and that's why we didn't have guests for the 3rd one.
Or they didn't
Or they
finish
were
the book.
procrastinating like me. Oops, didn't get that book today.
Yeah. And one thing I did hear was I would have come to more stuff if it wasn't all the same week. So, I don't know, can't win on that. Should it be more spread out? Should it be less spread out?
I think you was just coming out late and seeing it, I think it was one of the best things I've seen. You
Thanks.
know, it was, wow. You know? No, it was great, I haven't been before. You know, put something like that together was nice. That was,
Well, it took a lot of people a long time, so there's a lot of credit to spread around, but yeah, it's very
initially, you don't know
successful.
how much work that is. Yeah, no, it was pretty cool to see.
Going on to old business, is there anything new on the website, or?
I just checked with them, they wanted a second payment before they started actually building the site, once we approved the homepage, and so I just checked in, and they said, yeah, we're making good progress, so that's all I know. I did bring, for John's benefit, I'm just gonna ask you before you email to him. That is the homepage of our new website that we've approved, and just so you know, the picture of Mrs. Todd is gonna be part of the slideshow. It's not gonna be there all the time.
Wow.
That's it,
She's in a beautiful
that's just the
woman.
example.
Why is this started?
She founded the library.
Because I was gonna say, why not Ruth Jean?
Yes, I have a photograph of her that I need to scan and get to them. We definitely want Ruth on there. But that's the portrait that's in the local history room. They came up last summer and took
Zillion
pictures.
pictures.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And it will be created so that Pam can keep it updated, or somebody here at the
I
library
was
can
just
keep
gonna
it
say,
updated.
can you?
Right, it's going to be built in WordPress, which is much easier. Right now, it's a waiver, which is a pain, and we only have one license, and so, yeah.
Yeah.
So part of our contract comes with all the training that any of our staff, need in order to do the content updates.
Do we have like a page that's a junior in high school that we can keep through college? Personal training? Oh, that's nice. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd seen it, so I brought it
No,
up for you.
thanks.
All right. Anything, Michelle, on the overdue, the updates?
Yes, I brought the numbers. I just ran these tonight. The last time we talked about the overdue books, we discussed trying to categorize them so we could say, look for places that maybe we want to forgive the payment. So at the top of this, I have 2 separate groupings. One is by year that the book was due, not that it was taken out, but when it was last due. And you can see that some of the, this goes back 9 years. There's one book, $20, the chances of that person still being able to find the book that they took out in 2005 is probably slim none. On the other hand, really a good portion of it is, just a year or 2 old. On the other hand, there's 60 items, and we talked about this at the last meeting, Pam. There's 60 items, the cost of which is under $1. And I looked at some of them, and they look like titles of books, but they're worth, the cost on them is like 25 cents. So,
It's probably overdue fines, like if they checked out a book at a library that charges fines.
but it's a Rowley book. Rowley owns the book. So, I'm thinking that might be, I'm not interested in putting a lot of energy into chasing down Porter.
Right.
So that might be something we want to just take right off the top. And then underneath, I have it summarized by both year and the value, so we might say anything taken out after, or anything due back after 2011 that's worth at least $6, maybe that's what we want to look at.
From an accounting standpoint, if you're doing receivables and then bookkeeping and such, if you look at something like this, you as a business, you'd write it off. So just as a thought there, take the last 5 years, 2009, 2013, it gets you 90% of it. 2008's the worst of the write-offs, so you've got 113 and then 24. So my questions are, did we keep good track back in those other years? But at this point, is it worth doing the bookkeeping and the chasing for those
That's
five?
exactly why we're examining these
Yeah.
numbers. That's exactly what we're trying to decide. Is it worth it, and how much time is it worth, and how, on a PR point of view, how do we want to approach it?
Have we talked about putting an amnesty note in the newspaper and saying, putting something like this there and just say, if you have a book, you've got a 1 week or 2 week grace period the last 2 weeks. Have we talked about that?
We did
You
talk.
brought it up last.
Did I?
We
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
yeah, the only
Yes.
group conversation we've had really about this is the one at the last meeting, and that was suggested. And really, if they can bring the book back,
The thing of it is,
it's
there's-
not just this week. If you bring the book back, you're
There's-
okay.
Yeah.
We don't charge fines. They can bring it back anytime they want.
There's nothing really to offer. Like amnesty usually means we'll drop the overdue fines if we get the book back, but we don't charge fines. The only cost is the replacement cost of the item. So all we want is the item back.
Well, I think
It might be worth advertising the fact that there is no fee, because if someone's sitting there looking at it,
But it's
saying,
that, oh, I'm in so
I'm
much
gonna-"
trouble at the
yeah,
library.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think
But at the same
maybe-
time, is it, oh, they don't charge fines, well, I can just hang on to this
Well, I think
But we do charge for the book if you don't return
at
it.
a current.
Right, but again, the reason we're doing this is because what happens is they get an overdue notice, they get a bill, and then they get a 91-day bill, and then nothing.
They've lost the book. I can tell you, we've lost a couple of books, and then we've come and paid off the books. I hope. My name's not on there, but yeah, my kids over the course of the years have lost a couple of books. We come in and just pay them.
And that's
The other thing we haven't done, Michelle, is cross-reference the street list. I mean, are these families still even around to follow up with?
Right.
Just, just the current, since we went over on the mailing, on the stamps, why doesn't the first notice just be an email instead of?
It is, if we have their email.
Yeah, okay, and then, then when it gets to be the next thing, then.
Yes, that's a good point. That if we have their email in the system, they get a reminder that's going to be due, and they get an overdue notice. Bills are all hard copies, but that first overdue notice is electronic if we have it.
Okay.
So Michelle, do you have a strong feel, are you heading up this thing, or?
I'm running the data. I don't really have a strong feeling. A little history on this is we did this year and a half ago or something.
Wow.
But by the time we got to this point, it was like November, and we said we're not sending out a ton of bills on overdue books for the holidays or during the holidays. And so we kind of put it aside, and then we had staffing changes, and
And new software
Yeah.
as well.
And we were very conscious at that point, that sort of what took us so long is how do we want to present this so that we're not looking like this big bad library, sending the police to arrest a 10-year-old because they lost $5.
So can I make a suggestion? One is a motion to write off 2008 to 2005, and I mean, I'll make it if we want to do it. And then second thing is, if you wanted to call the Newburyport Daily News and the Town Record and come and ask them if they'll do an article. Actually, Michelle Marshall,
Yeah, we could.
I call Michelle, ask her if she'll do an article about it. And then the third thing is, well, after I talk to her, either have them do the article and talk about, do we want to do an amnesty? Use that to just get there and say, we're going to do an amnesty and we'll pick up the time now. and say, this is what we want to do, or I'll adjust it if I have to with her when the article gets in, and then see what we get for the result.
And Maggie suggested some kind of humorous, I don't remember exactly what you
Right,
said, but
just
you had
putting
some
it-
kind of like jokey way of,
Right, just,
Getting
I
the word
think
out
it was
there.
like offering some statistics of what's overdue, what's overdue, and just, no, I forget, you're right, it
Yeah.
was something
I
humorous.
might have written it
Oh,
down.
At the moment, I don't remember how.
But I think that would be good, like, can you believe 2,000 items have gone missing from the Raleigh Library? Do you think you might have some, with, you know?
If you do, please bring it up. We will forgive you.
We have a scavenger.
So do you want me to make a motion to just absorb the cost of those bottom four? I mean, it's identified or?
Well, how about the bottom three, and that way when we talk, you know, it'll still be over $6,000. If we throw in 2008, then we're gonna be under
Is
$6,000.
there a
Why
particular
is the
Reason why we chose 9 years to go back and not,
That's what we had.
That's the
recommended.
data we had, I think.
That's all, that's the
I
only
mean, the
reason.
other thing, could we do some sort of like fundraiser, like love your neighbor, forgive your neighbor? Do you want to donate towards this overdue book fund to replace these missing books?
Just given the amount of fundraising that comes through my house,
Yeah.
I just don't.
Plus, we couldn't do
It's a
it,
great idea,
Right.
but
we
Yeah.
couldn't directly do
The friends
fundraising.
have to do
Yeah,
Friends
right.
would have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that in different libraries, like sponsor this book, or, you know,
it's a great idea.
yeah,
Wanted.
yeah,
Maybe
wish
some wanted
list.
posters.
Yeah.
And I'll just have the title of the article.
I mean, I think an article is a really good place to start.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'll reach out to Michelle Marshall for an article.
Well, should we send her some of the statistics too, or are you gonna invite her to come in?
No, I'm gonna actually call her, show her this, and then talk to her about it.
Okay.
If, unless you guys want her to come in and do it more, but I just
I don't think that's
do
necessary.
get it.
That's fine, yep.
Did you have something, John?
Well, you started saying something, Josh. I didn't-
Well, I was just saying, why push everything up from 2009? What's the necessity to get rid of those completely from the list? I don't understand. Is there an advantage or a disadvantage? I mean, it's just,
It's just maybe less likely that we'll actually get them back if
But-
so much time has passed.
I think for the
Statute
article, it'd
of
be worthwhile to keep
limitation,
it all on there.
7 years, you
If we
know?
don't get anything,
You
we
can't
can write
send
off. At some point, we're gonna
It
write off
makes-
garbage.
it's just from a perception standpoint, it makes it look like you'll never kind of thing. And again, from a business standpoint, you would generally write things off as bad debt, bad whatever. You don't want to show them that you're still chasing money for things 9 years ago.
And that's what I think, every time I think about this, I think of the person, and not necessarily that we're gonna, send a letter, but the person like opening the letter and going, what? They're sending me a bill from 2007, like that, I don't think any of this is worth creating bad sentiment toward the library.
We won't let it go, but I mean, for the newspaper, I'm just gonna say to her, we just want to kind of report from 2008 back, and it's like $6,000. And can you do that? And if she says no, then I'll just come back and say,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
the
we can
other
do our
thing-
own little advertising. I think it's interesting, this is taxpayer money.
Right, and what I wonder is, should we check with Deb Egan about, can we write off town property? It's town property. It's,
Well,
are
we
there rules about,
Yeah, it's like an event, it's like a lost asset. There's a
Yeah.
whole, they're not capital assets,
As
they're
you said, they're not
depreciated.
capital.
Yeah, there's a way, they're expensive.
Maybe
But
that's
we
why
need
you got so
credit
many
for
things
that.
that were worth $1, because they were old items and they depreciated over time.
What would the-
I don't think
I
we
thought
have
that's
any
why
this programs in.
Because when you enter an item, you catalog an item, you say it's worth this much money.
Right.
I thought it more likely that if someone cataloged a paperback and said it's worth $5, they hit 5, enter, and it came out as 5 cents.
Maybe.
A whole-
Again, we've had 3 different software systems in this time period.
And so much different stuff.
Yeah, although they did recently make a change so that Evergreen automatically charges $10 if the price field is blank. So
And
at least you can
Mm-hmm.
get something.
what's interesting about it too, though, Pam, is that the only years that have something under $1 are the 3 most recent years. So that's curious too.
If
We just did
somebody-
every other year, like, it's double. That's another like, you know.
Yeah, what was
the
going on in
lipstick-
2009?
yeah, what's the lipstick index on borrowed books, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, I think an article would be a good opportunity to address things like, does the library want to be refunded? Does it want the book replaced? Or do you walk in with?
And I think especially, like, if we did decide, okay, the next step is gonna be maybe some phone calls to individuals or letters, if they had some notice beforehand, you know, like, yo, you might be getting a letter.
Yeah, you
But
know,
we
part
need
of
to,
it is
so we need to
budget's
make
tight.
that decision before
Mhm.
Michelle Mark, before we reach out to do an article. We need to have the answers to those questions. You know, it's great to do an article that says, here's the case, but if we want it to,
The way
if we
I
want it to grease the skids on, you're gonna get a phone call, then we should decide now,
The
what is
way I would
that?
put it with her is, because she'd asked that question, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I said, right now, it's under discussion. There's $6,000 that, you know, it's taxpayer money. The library is level funded, as are all town departments. That $6,000 could buy a lot of new books. Or, you know, we have to replace those books. We're looking at what, 200, 300, 400 volumes that are gone. So the first thing we've done is we're reaching out to let people know that this is a problem. We're not looking for the money, we just want the book. If they have the money, great, come back in and reimburse. Other than that, depending on how things go, the trustees are discussing what the next step is, and that may be one of several. It may be a letter, it may be a phone call, it may be off to a collection agency. Just kidding.
I mean,
But
it's,
we
you know,
just have a little-
again, you know, we
There's
wanted
no
to look
overdue
at.
fines at this point,
Yeah.
there's no fines, we just want to find the book,
Sure.
pun intended.
Right, there's no fine,
We
but,
want to find, not fine.
but there's a price on the book.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You're
So
still
that's what,
liable for
Yeah.
replacement value.
yeah.
so it's free to
We
return the book.
prefer, yeah, we have free to
There's a
return the book,
cost to not return the book.
yes.
Kind of go on a field. Do you want me to talk to Michelle, or would you
No, that's
guys?
fine, yeah.
I'm okay with that?
Yeah, the only thing is we're not actually level funded going into 15.
Right.
We did get an increase.
I completely agree. You know what, the way I phrase that is that most of the time we're level funded. Having-
Well, yeah, it's a very
For the
kind of,
last-
it's a very
For
lean
the last
budget.
5 years,
And we're very
we've been
careful
level
to say
funded.
that.
I just won't talk about the increase. I just said the last 5 years we were level funded. That's all the game with those guys.
So the article will state, this is a problem, we'd like the book back, and that we're discussing next steps.
Well, we're gonna get final approval of what she'll write.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, this is what we're gonna.
Putting in the
put
notes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I shouldn't say the article will state, we will inform Michelle.
Had been misquoted before, maybe it's miserable.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say no more.
I went back and looked at those articles.
They actually did a cartoon, political cartoon with me. Oh, yeah. Oh, just burn the place down. So bad.
Are we good?
You all set on your overages?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle.
John, if she does, if she's interested in any specifics, not in regards to patrons, but in regards to like titles or books or something like that, we can run that for her too.
Okay.
Let's see, well, 'cause I was like,
Actually, is everyone a single, a different thing, or do we have,
I have a list of books.
do we have repetitive ones?
Like,
Like the Hunger Games, that are all 5 issues of it gone.
I don't know, I'll have to check out. Sort of by
Well,
title or by author. That would be interesting, like which author.
that we did make a phone call when it came out that one person had all of a certain series of book, and they were all like 2 years overdue. And we called, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I have those."
You can give them back.
But the problem is, I mean, we come across these things by accident. We've never done anything systematically. You know, it just, I was weeding, and I was like, how come there's none of these series here? Where did they go? And I happened to find out that it was one person. So, again, there's not like a report that we regularly run. There's no systematic follow-up beyond that 91-day, notification. So that's kind of what where we're headed. Yeah.
John, if you give me like a day, I can get you like most popular author, most popular category in regards to like children versus DVDs or something.
Most expensive book.
Yeah, you can do
$75.
some like fun facts if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get that
fun
for you
facts.
to make it interesting, because I'm not,
Yeah.
right now it's pretty dry.
Yeah, if we get some fun facts. And I think they're away this weekend, but I'll talk to her probably early this week.
Oh, and that reminds me, next week is a short week, but it is a payroll week. So if you're around Tuesday or Wednesday, I will be looking for signatures.
Of next week?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, welcome.
I'm here.
Thanks. Janet, did you decide if we should postpone elections and subcommittee assignments until we have more trustees present? 1, 2, 3, 4, we're 2/3 here, 2/3, 1/3 missing. Does anybody think?
I'd say wait, is that wait?
Okay.
I think 2/3 is pretty good for us.
Well, I'm not sure we'll do any better in June.
We can nominate and elect that one if we show up.
Yeah, that happens once.
Same here.
Who's missing? Jake, Aaron, and Mark. So we know Aaron does not want to continue as secretary. She can't make enough meetings, and she feels bad about that. So,
I don't know if Mark would have any interest.
Mark would be the only question mark. I don't think Jake would have any interest.
And that's just someone who takes the notes of the meeting consistently.
Yeah. So we need. The officer positions are simply secretary, vice chair, and chair. So.
Who's vice chair?
Michelle is vice chair. I'm chair, and Aaron is secretary, presently. Michelle is willing to be secretary, but if anybody else is interested, I'm sure she won't argue.
If nobody else wants to do it, I'll do secretary, and then you can do vice chair.
Unless anyone else wants to vice chair? Or chair?
Or chair.
And the nominations?
No.
I nominate Mark to be chair.
Second.
All those in favor?
I
No, Janet has to call for the votes.
But you're going to the secretary? Sure.
So do you want me to nominate? I'll nominate Maggie for secretary.
I second.
You need a laptop.
That's his excuse,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's sticking to it.
I get it, but, you need a laptop.
John.
All those in favor?
I.
Any opposed?
I'm not doing it for this meeting, though.
I'm
Michelle,
just gonna push this over.
That's just gonna-
Maggie's now secretary. Aaron was our.
Aaron was,
Yeah.
and you probably haven't met Aaron yet,
No.
so.
Michelle, do you want to do vice chair? So I'll nominate, or do you want to be chairman?
Sure.
I'll nominate Michelle for vice chairman.
Thank you. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Do I do it again?
I'm fine not doing it or doing it, so.
I nominate Janet.
I'll second.
To do another year as chair.
I guess I can still ask all those in favor.
Oh,
Aye.
I was going to ask all.
Technically, under Robert's Rules of Order, since it's your nomination, the vice chairman is supposed to call for the vote.
Okay.
Just, if you're
That's
interested in
what-
the official
well, we get
commentary.
confused by that.
And I've also heard, like, I move to close the nominations. Like,
Yep.
I don't know if you need to do that step.
Supposed to motion
No.
open and motion to close nominations. If you get sticky.
Where do you, like, how do you learn this stuff?
Nobody.
Lots of town
Lots
meetings,
of
Rhonda's
town
got a
meetings
booklet that says, you know, Mr. Manning.
All those in favor of Janet continuing as chair?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I was so waiting for we can close the nominations, so, just so we can, first of all.
Yeah, I have heard that. Oh, yeah, I've had they change general law a few times for violation of open meeting laws. People go on and complain and then they've showed up. And we've passed squeak clean every time, but if someone's not happy.
Let's not have that happen here.
I never had it in the library, but several other boards.
We can do first pass at subcommittee assignments. We still need the people who are not here to sign on. But certainly if there are subcommittees that people are interested in.
And they're on the back of the agenda.
I'm currently on performance and compensation and outreach and special events, and I'd like to stay on those.
Alright. Performance and outreach. What was the other one?
That's it. Performance and compensation and outreach. I'm also on long-range planning,
Yeah,
but I don't
okay.
need, I can, but don't have to stay on that.
Let's see where we stand. Okay.
Passionate.
I do DR for work, so I'd be glad to hand Jan sent some material.
Anyone else see something that they're interested in?
I'd like to do outreach and special events. I don't know, I can do anything else. There's a hole in a committee.
Mark is currently on policy and procedure with you, isn't he, Janet?
They're on the agenda, isn't it?
And
And
Josh?
Josh, you're
Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah, I
continue on
think-
that one?
Sure. Yeah, I think you would try to do it.
I've been poking in that, but I haven't made huge progress.
Sean, you're currently on outreach and special events. Would you like to stay on that?
Sure.
Is that a,
He said tentatively.
Well, you added something, outreach and special events, those two different.
it's the same as it's always been.
Okay.
Special events is like rally.
Okay.
All right, so,
Sean?
Building the grounds.
building and grounds, we need some folks. Josh, you want to stay on that? I think Mark is on that too, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm not going to put him on there for right now, we'll hold it for next month, but.
I was on that at one point.
Your call.
Like now?
Yeah.
2014?
Yes, I don't remember, I'll have to check the previous minutes.
You're on
I'm
there.
thinking where we came up with.
You did the paint job, remember?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right, okay. So the backup for John on disaster planning,
I'll do it again. I do it with work. so.
okay.
And Erin's
I think
currently
Erin's
on
on
that
that.
too, so
Erin
she
is on
may
that, she may want
choose
to
to stick with
Okay,
it. And actually Jake is on that one too.
so is that, I'm okay with cutting back on subcommittee too. I'll put Jake on there for now. Long range planning,
I can stay on that one. Wow. Really
right now, the
spend
long range
time.
plan is in place, so that's really making sure we stay on it.
And it's really one
At this
meeting a
point.
year.
It's one meeting a
Year,
year,
year.
yeah.
So we'll stay on that.
So that's at least two people on each, I think, right?
Who else is on performance and comp?
I have to make, I have to
So
sign
you
that
have to.
in there.
Who
Since I got
else?
reelected.
Are you staying on, long range?
Yes, I'll stay on long range.
All right, so we have two people on each.
And we can revisit, I mean, we have at least two on each right now, right?
Yes.
So when we get the other three, I can try to email with, that doesn't usually get me very far. But, shall I let them spend some time together? And so, we can revisit that when the others are here and see where they'll fill in. We usually try to have three on each Let's see where that falls.
And there's 6 committees, so 3 on each committee is 18 seats, divided by 9 people.
Means 2.
Should be 2.
Right.
If each of us are on 2, there's 3 on each,
In theory.
in theory.
Okay, all right. So, did you get it?
Yes.
Okay, I can send this to you as well. All right, July 4th, holiday hours.
So July 4th is a Friday. The question is, do we want to close Saturday, July 5th? And another library did a survey. The survey responses were 13 libraries plan to open, 18 plan to close, 10 responded that they close all Saturdays in the summer anyway, and 6 libraries were currently either contemplating or waiting for approval from their boards to close.
I think it's fine, I'm not sure how many are going to come on July 5th to the library.
I'd say my only concern is, does anybody, like, if it's really hot out, is the library a place that people go to get relief for air conditioning?
Typically, we don't specifically advertise that, but, the news does tell people to do that.
I can do that.
Where's Saturday hours?
10 to 2.
I'm here thinking save money on electricity.
Yeah, air conditioner.
I don't know what to do, I'm torn now.
I'm thinking I'll go to the library so I don't have to pay for my own air conditioning.
Well, I mean, really, it would be no different, it's not like Thanksgiving where, we're closed Thursday or Friday. I mean, it would just be normal business as usual.
So we would be closed Friday,
Which we
Saturday,
are.
Sunday.
Right, but we are closed Friday anyway.
We're closed
so-
Friday anyway, so the only person who gets a Friday holiday is me. None of the staff would, so it's not,
But if we vote, if we vote to close on Saturday, the staff can't.
Staff
vote.
loses
staff does not
Because
get
it's not a
paid.
regularly
It's
scheduled.
not a paid holiday, yeah.
But they would probably want Saturday off for the most part, right?
And I'm not even sure how far ahead the schedule is done at this point. I think
I mean, there'll be so many community events, I would think, going on around town.
And people, with the
Or
way,
around other towns.
July 4th being a Friday, people are going to be taking off all over the place.
Yeah.
We're planning on-
When is the parade?
Is it this week? It might be the Saturday
Is it Saturday
before.
before? All those, oh, that's right, all those events that go on the common. Is it Saturday before?
No, they're supposed to be on the 4th. I'm still mad about that. They were always on before.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're saying. So.
Where's he made that to? I can go either way, but if we are open, I think we should do something to celebrate.
I'm not sure how busy we're going to be.
I'd second the motion.
Can we defer to the staff on that? No. I don't want to take hours away
Do
from
we
it.
have a motion?
Well, anytime, like for example, when we close the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, or if we close Christmas Eve, where they're not official holidays, people are allowed to make up the time if they want to. Some people just want the time spent with their family or get away or whatever, and others really want the income and they make the effort to make up the time.
Okay. All right.
So you can make the time. So did you make a motion to close?
Yes, I made a motion to close.
I seconded it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I think that's the best way. And what was it saying about heat emergency? Was it If the selectmen decide to do something like that, they would just open it on an emergency basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always, and typically, in disaster type situations, like a lot of time you hear about the library open so that people can warm up and charge up and,
Okay.
yeah.
Do we have a generator?
No.
No.
Do we, sorry?
Have a generator.
Oh. It's probably something we should consider at some point. Even a disaster.
Cost benefit.
Yes.
Can't really justify
How
it.
big of, well, I guess it would depend on how big of a generator it would need.
Right.
Can't justify the cost. From the cost benefit.
Really?
From a
We should
business
be-
standpoint, if you look at it from what the library provides, it's not essential services, it would be difficult to justify spending, you know, $5,000 to $10,000.
We're not a meeting area if there is a disaster or anything in that, you know, from that perspective.
But we did, the Massachusetts NEMA has over the past few years mapped out libraries so that they know, you know, which communities have facilities. Like if they needed to open a relief center, you know, they've teamed up with libraries ahead of time, so they don't waste time going into the community and trying to find a suitable place for the headquarters. They know which libraries
It's already mapped.
are, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what town it was that they had the power outage for like a week, and people were going to the library to charge up their electronic devices.
Something with long range or something about.
And also on the disaster plan, it would be a nice idea to have a rental lined up, you know, a rental company at least lined up of some sort.
Based on past experience,
They're all
when you
pretty
go for that and you have a pre-existing agreement, civil authorities will just take it. They do that with the phones, and if it happens, one of the things in Boston, when I've been working, the Boston police is BEMA. BEMA works with BEMA. And FEMA.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Tuesday morning hours.
Yes,
Have you done the numbers?
yes.
I think we should probably have it.
Well, I mean, yeah, the numbers are easy. $3,000 a year is what it would cost to have an extra staff person here, an additional 4 hours to open at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. We talked a little bit about this when we were putting together our budget proposal for fiscal 15. I'm sort of a mind that we can just do it. I think we can do it.
Fit it in?
I think we can fit it in.
I would agree with you, and if you look at the numbers and you can make it work, if we get short of the budget, then we just cut back those hours.
We have a request.
We also have a request to increase our hours.
You say
that we can do.
A request, yeah.
So we try not to dip into it for that because we want it to
We
be
want the
part of our
request
budget.
to last, yeah, we want the request to last a long time, but we could self-fund for a very, very long time, even using the request each year.
Let's see if we can use the request as the backstop, but
Right,
part of the budget first. Yeah.
right.
And what, it's 4 extra hours?
4 extra hours.
And it would give us consistent hours every day.
And
Does that give us 3
Huge.
staff members though? Because you're here.
During the day, we're okay with 2, but there would be 3 because Amy and Hermaine are here already. I come late because I stay late on Tuesday nights. But we want someone on the desk so that Amy's not doing the pull list, the delivery. I mean, she
And the
does-
desk.
Yeah, and the desk. She's already on the desk all day Monday and part of Wednesday. So, you know, we would obviously first open it up to any of our staff who wanted 4 extra hours a week. And, you know, when we did that on Mondays, we kind of got in a little sticky thing because 2 people wanted the extra hours on Monday, so now they're alternating. But the Monday holidays end up not being fair. They're weighted towards one, not the other.
Tuesdays don't have holidays as much.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Can't we make a decision either based on longevity or need? Can't we?
I mean, there's a couple
Operate.
different ways to look at it. You know,
Can we
right
prioritize
now
this?
we
Who
have-
gets first choice.
Right now, we have a staff person who's just a sub, who might want regular hours. You know, the person who works Tuesday night is obviously out of the running because they can't work a 10-hour shift. I mean, I don't know how to make it fair, but it may or may not be a problem depending on
Who wants it?
you know,
Keep it-
who responds to the offer.
Good problem to have. Moving workers.
And then the other question is, you know, we could start this on Monday, we could start it on July 1st, we could start it on Labor Day.
I think I would go for July 1st starting the new school year.
Because families in the summer are going to look for places to go.
And I certainly don't want any brushback of like, oh, what's all this crying about level funded and da-da-da, I know the library's increasing hours, you know, I certainly don't want it to come back as like we weren't being transparent or, you know, being disingenuous in our budget. I just think, given that we have the bequest, I'm comfortable trying it. You know, we expanded our hours on Thursday, and we were very nervous about it, and it was fine. It was a wash, it was fine. So I'm more confident.
And we've never touched the
And that was,
Thursday.
that was 6 hours when we did that increase. This is only 4.
Make a motion to increase the hours on Monday,
Tuesday,
Tuesday morning, for additional 4 hours.
I second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
That's starting July 1st?
Starting July 1st.
We could have changed our whole website design now because of that.
Well, you know what, it's good to know. The other thing that they're doing,
Good at the space.
yeah, the other thing,
So that's at 10 a.m.
there have been some changes at MVLC, so they're printing a new directory, so it'll be nice to have that in before that printing.
That would be nice.
July.
Just the consistency, so you don't have to say,
Exactly,
is
and
it this
like,
the morning they're open or not?
They already posted
Nothing
emails and
worse than
calls.
walking down
Any
here,
hours today?
getting
Yeah.
your kid out of the car,
Yeah.
pulling on the door and having it locked.
it's the worst, so, just for the consistency alone, it's worth it.
Is that 24 hours a week?
44, yes, yes.
Yep,
No, that has no impact on our,
that's not enough of a
on
job.
the percent of materials budget, right?
If anything, the materials budget, as I said, helps us a little, because we meet that with some outside sources.
But I mean, yeah, I know that we looked
It went
at doing
down
it, but I mean,
before,
by
but
now,
it
increasing
will not-
hours, it
This
doesn't
is
go
not gonna
down.
touch that.
I don't think so. I will check and see where the next level is, but I don't think so.
I can't imagine that from 40 to 44 would
No,
impact that, but.
I would imagine it would be 50 at least.
We already talked about future Raleigh reads, I don't know if we need to talk about that again, or, okay.
We should probably put a date on the calendar for when we're going to start talking about it for next year.
I have on my action items to schedule a Raleigh Reads meeting.
Okay.
Yes. Believe me, I'm not in any rush either.
Do you know how soon June is?
I know, but this is like my last thing for May. Rest and sleep.
That's the generator.
It's the air compressor.
Just that.
So subcommittee reports, I only have something specific under building and grounds.
The AV quote I had reviewed by a number of people with my organization and ran it through some consultants. They thought the quote was really fair and that it was a good choice, technologically speaking.
Okay. John, did you get it in?
I'm trying to remember, there was a specific thing that made it particularly good. Oh, the fact that we were investing in a television as opposed to a projector, significant savings because, you know, televisions are much less expensively replaced than projectors.
And then the thing that was confusing to me was the whole switch part of it, like the fact that it had too many inputs. The other thing I was looking at just maybe picking up a tabletop projector. You know, right now, I had to call everyone who's using the meeting room saying, I hope you don't need a projector. I mean, I don't know if it's just something we can have. Well,
It's bad.
it shows, you didn't see it, you weren't here for that meeting. No. There's a big yellow dot in the middle.
Oh, jeez, okay.
It's because of the blue optimizer burnt out.
Okay.
You're talking about buying new screen?
Yeah.
So anyways, what I was wondering is, as I was sort of looking at projectors, is it smart to have a TV for DVDs and movies and a little portable projector? Would that take out the whole need for the switch? Which I still didn't understand how the switch would work. It's like they're going to install a panel or something to control it?
Is it a wireless panel or a wired panel?
I don't know.
$1,400 remote control.
Have you got a proposal?
We had a
We do.
proposal, yeah.
Is it,
It's 22.
yeah.
Pam sent it to me, I can take it out of my email. and send
Yeah,
it.
just the fact that I work on
We were supposed to have 2 proposals. One of them never showed up, John's contact. And then, did you see the thing I sent you?
We need more than one.
Because I threw it out to our, one of our state contacts, And I was like, you know, do you have anyone who does this kind of site work installation? And they wanted to charge us $100 to come do a site visit, and I was like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, no.
Do we do an RFP for this?
No.
Okay. Would you be averse if I took that material and put an RFP together?
Yep.
And then gave it to Best Buy and a few other places and just ask them, this is what our
Well,
requirements are, this is what we want?
I would say
So
the
we-
concern would
we
be
do.
there are very few companies that will do municipal contracts.
We went to a company on state contract.
Do you have to?
No, but we don't,
You get a
you
better
essentially, you take the procurement aspect out of it. This is an approved vendor, so,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Pam, given the cost of it, are we gonna need multiple bids?
I think the threshold is $24,999 for needing an RFP or a,
That's right.
and we were at like 21 or 22.
Just 22.
I just wondered if it was more complicated than it had to be. That's what I was afraid of, because I really wasn't understanding how he was explaining to me needing the switch.
Yeah, and the first guy that I talked to, I spoke to user support services in my company, and he said, no, you know, it looks great, but he said, talk to Jake, because he's a network and AV guy, and I talked to Jake, and he was actually like, this is a really good deal. I mean, granted, I'm sure we're being overcharged for what we get at my company, but he felt like it was a good deal, that it was good technological choices, that it would last, it was easily adaptable. I didn't get into talking to him about the switch. I could absolutely follow up with him. A $1,400 remote does sound
Touch
Like
screen
it's
panel
just-
in the wall.
begging to
Is that
be.
what it was? Yeah.
I would be concerned if.
And it was
kids
something
would
to
be
do with the logistics, like because the DVD VCR is already wired in at that end of the room.
Mhm.
I didn't understand why it was necessary.
Okay.
So you're saying you need to switch, they're down there, and then the tube will be up here?
Somehow we wanted more inputs than was possible, which I don't get because TVs have like 20 inputs now. But somehow we had too many and we needed a panel to control the inputs.
I have a switch in the back of my television, I have 2 or 3 HDMI ports, and we've got Xbox One, Wii, the DVD, and I actually, on my old TV, put a 4-port switch on it. The Radio Shack was $30, the HDMI is an awful lot. But
Right, but
That's
see,
why.
the other thing is, the reason we can't go to like Best Buy or Radio Shack or whatever is I can't project manage this. I mean, we need like electrical, we need cabling, we need a
Yes.
professional to come in and do the job.
To install it and to maintain it over time.
Right.
So that's part of your, is,
Yeah.
you know, tell us what your annual maintenance fee, and that's where you make the money. That'll give you a
In
good buy.
terms.
What's that?
In terms, not just their fee, but what it includes and what it doesn't include.
But
Like for televisions, if we smash the screen, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have to replace it. If there's a cracked screen.
And,
You have a
you know, the
plastic
other thing is,
around.
yeah, is the security and the safety of it. You know, we have to know it is not coming off that wall.
Right.
And, you know, we don't want to fall on anyone's head, and we don't want it walking out the door, so.
Yeah, we actually need a company that's gonna guarantee their work and assume liability if it does fall off
Right.
the wall.
And then I think that company wanted us to do the electrical beforehand and have them come in and just do the install.
That's fairly typical.
Yeah. So basically, which means taking out these 2 sconces and, you know,
Making room for the screen and then wiring
making a
it together.
connection, yeah.
So, and you want me to follow up on the switch issue? Can I report back by email to you trustees?
You can report,
Or
but you can't act on it.
Okay.
You can report it on to
I'll bring my new data for the next meeting.
And what do you guys think about me just picking up a $400 tabletop projector.
Projector, I'm not sure if it's too old for it, but you're welcome to try it.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, regardless.
You know, and it's something like if we do another Bob Mary talk, it could be something we could take with and be easy.
Can we ask the friends if they could purchase that?
You can try.
If not, I think we usually bring us on the other one and just buy it.
Yeah, we should be able to get.
Yeah, we can do it ourselves.
I'll show you the one I have, I guess I don't know if it's too old or not, but it's one we used to use on presentations, so.
And if not, Brookstone has one, so $300 is what this big. Those are wonderful. We use those sometimes.
I'm gonna temporarily skip over the painting bid to the Collins plaque. I think it's pretty easy.
It's out there.
It's here, it's installed,
It
yay.
looks great.
You wanted to discuss lawn mowing?
Well, only because we have a new highway surveyor who was elected last week, and, you know, we have sort of an interesting arrangement with the way that mowing is paid for, half by the town, half by the library, because we use a vendor. The interim highway surveyor got rid of the bid for the town mowing and just took it all on in-house, but they let us keep our vendor in our arrangement, and so I just kind of wanted to reach out to the new highway surveyor and make sure that was still going to be the case. I haven't heard anything back yet from
You
the
have
query,
yourself,
so
but
I sent an email,
I'm sure he's still settling in.
and yeah, exactly, I'm sure there's many more things on his list than the library lawn. But the situation is, we pay for this vendor because our lawn's organically maintained and it needs to be mowed to a certain precision and it needs to be mowed every week, which is not the care we would get from the town. So the arrangement is we pay for every other mow out of our budget and the highway department pays every other mow out of their budget because that's what they would do for us if we were on the town bid. So hopefully we keep doing that going forward.
So the painting bid, those who watched town meeting or were there know that our request for capital funds to paint the library was approved. So now we have to go back to the bid process.
I have it here. I know John hasn't seen it. New John, if you want to see it, this is the bid. It's going to be updated a little bit because there were some amendments to it. But then
amendments that we made, or?
Yes. It was, you know, because it was published in the General Register, and then there was some amendments as we sort of talked to the vendors about, you know, we actually had a site meeting. It was a mandatory site meeting where they came and we walked around the building
Right.
together and talked about the specifics of the job, and from that meeting came some amendments.
Now, do we need to do that again because we're opening the whole process over again?
We are opening the whole process over again. Doreen Glowick in the Selectman's office is back after Memorial Day. As soon as I give her the go-ahead, she will post it again, updating the dates and whatnot. We have a couple of events that are going to be outside this summer. The summer reading kickoff, you know, weather permitting, of course, is June 25th. And then Bubble Day, which I don't know if you've seen Bubble Day, but hugely popular, is August 6th. So it would be ideal if the painting was in between those two things, so there wasn't, you know, scaffolding and workers and whatever when we're trying to enjoy our lawn. Debbie was a little concerned that we wouldn't get anyone to bid on it in the height of the summer painting season. She thought the reason we got competitive bids last fall was because it was fall and everybody was trying to fit in one last job before the season ended. But we'll see.
I'm comfortable waiting for the fall if we can get a better price, because
Well,
our
that's-
push for last fall was to try to get it painted before
the
the
spring.
375th.
Right, well,
Basically
the
before
parade
Memorial
and
Day.
everything is the beginning of
September.
September, so do we want it done before that? Probably.
That's a good point.
I would say probably, if we can.
Yeah.
They usually have a time frame on it.
They have
Good.
30 days, yeah.
30.
So we have to work out, and we have, you know, just enough time. It's just, May's just ending now. You know, we have time to get bids in and have the job fall in July if we get anyone. We also put in, I think they put in 25,000 at the capital request at town meeting. Again, thinking the bids in the summer are going to come in higher than they did in the fall.
What did we end up paying? What was that?
The low bid was like 14 and change, 14,400, something like that.
So really, from this meeting, the only follow-up is that you'll ask town hall to reopen the process.
Yes.
Okay. So nothing else we can do, okay?
Yeah.
Michelle, you and I need to get together for performance and compensation sometime reasonably soon. So the last thing really is the report from the Friends meeting and the book sale, which we also talked a little bit about. There was no Friends meeting, it didn't happen. The book sale we talked about earlier, it was a stellar year.
It was very successful.
And as the newest trustee, John gets to run it next year.
Well,
Not a good idea.
I was trying to recruit people. Anyone who came up to me and said, "Can I make a suggestion?" I said, "Sure. You can do whatever you want next year."
And there were a lot of those.
There were lots of suggestions.
How much did we make?
$4,600.
$4,600. Actually, almost 47. Because someone actually paid $35 to take away all the stuff that the sheriff's department couldn't take. So
Nice.
win-win.
And that was, I mean, they were going to the recycling anyway, and this person just wanted to pick through and keep what he could use and put the rest to recycling, and I said, just make a donation that you think is fair.
So that was excellent. So it's actually closer to 47 than 46, but the previous high for just a May book sale was like 41.75.
And did you find that there were more books this year? Or?
There were definitely more books than there had been the previous two. I mean, the weather was good. We were on the front lawn, but not stellar. Friday was actually lower, and I was kind of disappointed after Friday. The raffle was an excellent raffle item prize this year. And so that increased some revenue.
Which, sorry.
The whole family fun.
The summer fun house. It's really good.
I'll take y'all out for ice cream.
So yeah, so it was like a little bit of everything and just a good day.
It was a gorgeous day on Saturday. That was really a perfect day for it. Because it wasn't hot, but it was sunny. And
It actually started to rain while we were bringing things in.
It was a little dicey there.
We moved quickly.
Yeah, all my volunteers were in sports. For the pullback meeting, I was gonna make them work again, but I couldn't get them.
I will say the Friday setup, we had more Pine Grove students helping than I've ever seen, and they can move books.
Great.
Oh.
Determined second graders can do just
Oh
about
my
anything.
gosh, that's wonderful.
Well, second graders.
Yeah, two
There were
fourths.
fourth graders,
2 seconds, 2 fourths.
I think we ended up with like 4 second graders that volunteered this year, and 2 fourth graders, and I think
Nice.
6th graders.
It's
Crazy.
They're lucky indigent service.
All right.
Tomatoes can move books.
What I have here for action items is that Michelle will get some statistics to John Manning, new John, for his article, which he will then contact Michelle in the newspaper, recommending an article about overdue materials. You will schedule a meeting for Rowdy Reads 2015, and follow up with Town Hall to get the painting bid reopened. You will follow up with questions from the AV
On the switch.
on the switch.
Janet, you the action items electronically.
Yes, and Michelle and I, regarding Pam's evaluation. Because we're due again. And one of these years, we're not going too late. I'm determined that one of these years, we're not going too late. Did I miss any? Did anybody knows over?
Did you say, schedule a debrief of Rowdy Reads?
Debrief, no. Would that be a separate meeting?
It
For the
depends.
Rowdy
I mean, for the debrief of the past Rowdy Reads, we want the people who, I mean, I guess anybody who came to anything can talk about it, but for planning for the next Rally Reads, I don't know if we want to mix up who's doing it, or if it's going to be the same people over again, I don't know.
Are you going to organize that, or whose action item is that?
It's Pam's.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
So anyway, that might be 2 meetings, or it might be 1 meeting, I'm not sure.
Put it as 2
Yeah.
items, and so you can handle that, how it works. Michelle, you want these electronically, I'm guessing?
Yes, please.
I don't have anything else. Does anyone have anything else?
I called the people on the sign, and they said they would stop by.
Uh-huh, okay.
Did they come talk to you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I'll call them again. So that was the Library.
Thank you.
Or Ipswich,
Kate Ann's
Cape
signs.
Ann and Ipswich, yeah.
That's
He's
the-
like, oh yeah, I'll swing by there. It wasn't the guy you've been emailing.
Okay.
It was someone else in the office, and he goes, okay, yeah, I'll come by, take a look at it. So, okay.
What's the situation with the sign?
The post is peeling, for lack of a better term.
But it was peeling from the day they installed it,
Right.
and they kind of just poo-pooed me. Oh yeah, we're trying to figure out where the process went wrong. We're gonna keep an eye on that. We're gonna da-da-da-da.
All right. Yeah, sure.
So maybe they did the same thing. Be like, oh yeah, we'll swing by.
Yeah, that's what I got a lot of for like a year, and then
Okay.
so
So I will follow up on that.
thank you, John.
All right.
Maybe that needs to go just on the buildings and grounds. Just stay on the agenda. Yeah.
So it is 9:23. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. Next meeting is June 15th.
On another official note, riding my 6th Pan Mass Challenge this year, it's the cancer fundraiser, and we're holding a fundraiser up in Newburyport.